As you heard, 4 years of Lady and the Champs conferences, 3 days each time, and you're going to learn all the takeaways in just 7 minutes. What a deal. April 7th, Tuesday of this year, it was our monthly call of World Champions Edge. We knew this was going to be different because the first 2 sentences out of Patricia Fripp's mouth were, it was time to close down World Champions Edge after 9.5 years. World Champions Edge was the group composed of 4 world champions of public speaking and coach to the stars Patricia Fripp that provided a wonderful learning environment at a very low cost for new and emerging speakers. I had the good fortune of attending the last 4 Ladies and the Champs Speakers Conferences. They were all marvelous events. As with any big event, there were some great moments and some not so great moments. We'll briefly discuss some of those. But I have 5 key takeaways that I got from 4 years of Lady and the Champs. 2 of those in what I would call the business of speaking, and 3 of those in what I would call the art of public speaking. In the business of speaking, takeaway number 1, build your email list. This was stressed so often by so many speakers, not just the champs, but by the many guest speakers they would come in. They would point out, 20, 30 years ago, you could actually make a living as a keynote speaker. You didn't have to use technology. You didn't have to build a list. You could go around like Zig Ziglar and essentially give the same speech for 40 years and be paid very handsomely for it. Those days, unless you have to be a celebrity speaker, are past. There's actually, if you think about it, and I want to point this out, 2 categories of speakers. For keynotes, the big bucks go to what we would call the celebrity speaker. Who has heard Hillary Clinton speak? Do you think she's worth $300,000 for 1 hour?
No.
That's what she gets paid. Bill Clinton. Now, Bill Clinton is a marvelous speaker. I still wouldn't pay him $300,000 for an hour speech, but that's what he gets. The big bucks are given to celebrity speakers, some of them tedious beyond belief, because you've probably heard some of them. But isn't it nice to know that that gentleman up there giving you one of the more boring speeches you've ever heard is getting $25,000? Life is so fair. If you are not in that celebrity category, to make a living in the speaking business, you have got to build an email list and develop products and sell products to that email list. That's a whole seminar on its own, but folks, that's the takeaway I got. Today, if you want to make a living in it, you've got to build your list. Second business of speaking I took was embrace the current technologies. Webinars, shopping carts, as Ed Tate, the 2000 world champion, says, little swipey things to scan a credit card. You can put it on your iPad. You can even put it on your iPhone. It's amazing. But the technologies, some of which weren't even available as recently as 5 years ago for running your speaking business, are amazing. They're inexpensive. Again, that's a whole seminar on its own. But to succeed in the speaking business, if you are not going to be a celebrity speaker, you've got to embrace these technologies that we have before us. On to the art of public speaking. Boy, this was amazing. I mean, there were hundreds of things that I could project. However, here are 3 of the keys. There was a time in the not too distant past when a speaker could stand up and give, I guess you would call it, a Friends Romans countrymen speech. Basically, it could be given to any audience, kind of like the Gettysburg Address. Those days, too, are past. Audiences want personal contact. They want personal engagement. They want it in a conversational style. In 4 years of speakers, I noticed that the most effective ones are the ones that used names, Russ. Interesting little tip about that. If you use one person's name, most of the audience feel that you're speaking with them personally. So the style of speaking has changed a lot. And the style that succeeds now is conversational, you-focused, and getting the audience engaged. Tip number 4, content is still king. This was expressed best, in my opinion, by Tim Gard, a wonderfully humorous speaker who was at the recent Lady of the Champs conference, when he said, essentially today, audiences want a black belt in something, and they want it in about an hour. That's the reality. You can no longer say, live your dreams, follow your passion, the Zig Ziglar mode. Audiences want to know how, and they want to know it specifically, and they want to know it in about an hour. So content is still king, but it has to be specific. Finally, this is a tip I brought away, and that is this. Humor is critical, more critical than ever. In 1985, 87, and the early 90s, you could win the World Championship of Public Speaking with a speech that only had 3 or 4 laughs. If you don't have at least 11 laughs now, 12, 13, that's about 2 laughs per minute, you're not competitive. We learned that even in TED Talks, the best TED Talks, now those are 18-minute speeches that you can follow online, average about 2 laughs per minute. And this is commonsensical. You can imagine that, frankly, if you're laughing, you're having more fun, which is why I know that you're all not having fun right now, because nobody's laughing. But humor is critical. You saw it again and again in 4 years of Lady of the Champs. The speakers that had a lot of humor in their presentations connected with the audiences best. Those are the 5 tips that I gleaned from 4 years of Lady of the Champs. Now, you don't have to go back and relive those 4 years of Lady of the Champs. You learned all those secrets in just 7 minutes. Russ?